My friend, the world we see with our eyes is not all there is. There is another realm, a spiritual one. It is not far away, it is near, it surrounds us, and in that unseen world there are messengers of light, sent by God, watching over you, guiding you, and sometimes even visiting you. Yes, angels are real. They are not only in Scripture. They are still working today. They have not retired. They have not stepped away. They are present, active, and intentional. And though they may not always reveal themselves in the ways we expect, they do leave signs. The divine rarely announces itself with thunder. Most times it comes softly, quietly, like a whisper in the wind. And only those who are still enough, aware enough, and spiritually open will recognize the signs. You may not see wings, you may not hear a trumpet, but something deep within you knows. You have been touched by heaven. When angels visit, your spirit senses it, even if your mind doesn't understand it at first. So how can you tell if angels have been near? What are the signs that God's messengers have been walking beside you, working behind the scenes of your life? Let me share with you 6 signs that angels have been visiting you. There are times in life when everything feels like it is falling apart. You look around and nothing makes sense. There is trouble in your family, there is pressure at work. Your health may not be strong. Finances might be tight. The people you counted on are no longer there. Everything seems uncertain. You are in the middle of chaos, and yet in the middle of all that, there is something strange happening. Inside of you there is a quiet, there is a peace, a stillness. You should be afraid, but you are not. You should be panicking, but you are calm. You should be crying, but your heart is still. That does not make sense to the world, but it makes perfect sense to the spirit. That kind of peace is not normal. It is not from your own strength. It is not something you can create by trying harder. It is a gift. It is something beyond you. That kind of peace is often a sign that angels are near. It is a sign that heaven is closer than you think. When everything around you is full of noise and yet your soul is quiet, that is not by accident. That is protection. That is comfort. That is a heavenly presence guarding your heart and mind. Angels may not always speak words, but they carry peace with them. When they are near, something in your spirit settles down. You can feel it in moments when you should be breaking down, but you are not. It happens when the report from the doctor is not good, but somehow you feel steady. It shows up when the job you depended on is gone, but you still feel provided for. That peace is not normal. That is heaven's work. Some people may not understand what you are feeling. They may ask, how are you so calm? They don't realize that you are being held, you are being supported. Something unseen is helping you stand. There are angels on assignment around you. They may not appear in front of your eyes, but their presence is real. You know it because the peace you feel is not your own. You know it because you have every reason to fall apart, but somehow you are whole. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not the change in your situation. It is the calm that enters your heart while you are still in the storm. You may pray for the storm to stop, but the answer you receive first is peace. That peace tells you that you are not alone. It reminds you that something bigger is working behind the scenes. It reassures you that the storm is not forever. You do not need to understand everything to be at peace. You do not need to have everything fixed to feel safe. Real peace comes not from having control, but from knowing you are being carried. The presence of angels does not mean your life will have no problems. But it does mean that in the middle of the problem, you will have an inner strength that cannot be shaken. It is a quiet peace, not loud, not showy, just there, deep inside. You can wake up in the middle of the night, unsure of what tomorrow holds, and yet your heart will not race. You will lie there in stillness. That is the touch of heaven. That is the comfort of God, delivered through his messengers. People often look for big signs to know if God is near, but sometimes the most powerful sign is how still you feel inside when the world is loud. You don't hear thunder or see light in the sky. You just breathe and there is no fear. You walk through your day and there is no worry. That is peace beyond human understanding. That is spiritual. You might have known times in your life when everything was easy, but you had no peace. And now everything may be hard, but your heart is calm. That shows you that peace does not come from outside. It comes from within. And that peace is often placed there by God through His angels. When you feel that kind of calm, don't ignore it. Don't think it's just your imagination. Recognize that you are being cared for. Even if you don't see the help, it is there. Even if you don't hear the words, they are being spoken over you. That peace is evidence of love from above. Let that peace hold you. Don't fight it. Rest in it. Trust it. Let it remind you that storms do not last forever. Let it be the soft voice in your soul that says, you will make it through this. That is not just hope, it is assurance. There will be moments when the peace is the only thing you have. No solutions yet. No answers, just peace. But sometimes that is enough. That peace is strength. That peace is light. That peace is healing. And over time, the situation around you will begin to shift. Not always quickly, not always in the way you expect. But peace is always the beginning of change. If you are walking through a hard time right now, and yet you feel a strange calm inside, hold on to that. It is a sign, it is a message. You are not alone. You are being guided. You are being watched over. Your peace is not weakness. It is a sign that you are not abandoned. It is a sign that heaven is with you. And even when the noise around you grows, go back to that quiet place inside. Let that peace lead you. Let it ground you. Let it speak to you when fear tries to return. Because once you have touched that peace, you will know what is real. You will know what is lasting. You will see that peace is not just a feeling. It is a presence. It is the sign of something wholly nearby. And when angels visit, they don't always come with light and sound. Sometimes they come with silence. They come with stillness. They come with peace. So if you feel that peace in the middle of your chaos, give thanks. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are being carried through the storm, not alone, but with help from heaven. There are moments in life that pass quickly, moments that feel small, moments we don't think much about, a red light that makes us late, a missed phone call, a strange feeling that makes us turn left instead of right. We do not always stop to think about those moments, but sometimes later on, we find out that something could have happened, something bad, something we didn't see coming, and suddenly we realize we were protected. There is danger in the world, not just the kind we can see with our eyes, but also the kind we never know about until much later, or maybe never at all. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not what you do see, but what you don't. You do not know what was waiting at the corner you didn't turn. You don't know what was in the room you never entered, but something greater than you knew, and you were moved, you were delayed, you were redirected. And you were saved. You may think it was luck. You may think it was coincidence. But when it happens again and again, something in your heart begins to understand. This is not chance. This is grace. This is protection. This is the work of angels. Sometimes you get a feeling not to go somewhere, or you suddenly feel tired and decide to stay home. Maybe someone calls and changes your plans, and you feel disappointed, only to find out later that something went wrong at the place you would have been. That is not just a random moment. That is the unseen hand of help. You did not see the danger, but heaven did. You did not know what was ahead, but something greater than you did. And because of that, you were moved away from harm. Angels are messengers and protectors. They are sent by God to guard, guide, and shield, and many times they protect us without our knowledge. They don't always show up in light. They don't always speak in a loud voice. Sometimes they work in silence, quiet but strong, unseen but near. They block things we don't even know are coming, and one day we look back and realize we were spared. There are stories people share about near misses. A person who was supposed to be on a plane that crashed but missed the flight. Someone who was walking down the street but turned a different way at the last second. A driver who hit the brakes for no reason and missed an accident by inches. These stories are not just amazing, they are sacred. They remind us that we are being watched over even when we're not watching out for ourselves. But protection isn't only physical. Sometimes the danger is emotional. Sometimes it's a relationship that didn't work out. You may have cried when they left. You may have begged to stay in a place that didn't want you, but now you see that person was not good for your heart. That place was not meant for your peace. What you thought was rejection was actually rescue. Angels will remove things that are not for your good. You may not see the danger at the time, but later you'll understand. Other times the danger is spiritual. You may have been walking into a place where your peace would be disturbed, where your soul would be troubled, and out of nowhere your plans change. Something inside you pulls back. That is not just fear. That can be discernment. That can be divine guidance. That can be an angel protecting you from something your eyes can't see. We often ask God to protect us and then forget that His protection might not always feel comfortable. Sometimes it feels like interruption. Sometimes it feels like delay. But behind every delay, there might be a danger. Behind every closed door, there may be a disaster. And we were moved, not because we are lucky, but because we are loved. If you've ever looked back and thought, I don't know how I made it through that, or I can't explain why I changed my mind at the last minute, then you already know what it feels like to be protected. You have been led away from something without knowing you were ever in danger. You didn't have to see it. You didn't have to fight it. You just had to follow the small shift in your day, and that was enough to save you. This kind of protection is humbling. It reminds us that we are not alone. It reminds us that something greater is at work in our lives. We are not just making decisions on our own. Sometimes heaven is making them with us. Sometimes angels are clearing the path before we even take the step. There are also times when we don't escape the trouble completely. Maybe we still walk through the fire, but even then, something in us knows it could have been worse. It could have broken us, but it didn't. We were carried through it, not around it, but through it, and we came out stronger, safer, still standing. We will never know all the things we've been saved from. And maybe that's for the best, but what we can do is live with awareness, live with thankfulness, pay attention to the small delays, the sudden changes, the quiet warnings. Don't ignore those little nudges. That might be the very moment heaven is stepping in, and when you feel that you were kept from something, pause, take a breath, and give thanks, not just for what you know, but for what you don't. Thank God for the road you didn't take, for the person who walked away, for the job you didn't get. Thank Him for the closed doors, the changed plans, the delayed flights, because what feels like disappointment may actually be divine direction. You may never meet the angel who stood in your path. You may never hear the voice that whispered, "Not this time," but you will know it in your spirit. You will feel the quiet echo of safety, and you will walk forward not in fear but in peace, because now you know something greater is walking with you, watching over you, and guiding you every step of the way. There are moments in life that feel different from the rest. You might be walking through an ordinary day, going about your routine, and suddenly something happens that makes you stop. It could be a dream. It could be a conversation. It could be a person you meet for only a few minutes, but something in that moment feels holy. It feels like time slows down, something deep inside you wakes up. You feel peace. You feel wonder. You feel like something sacred has touched your life. Not every dream is just your mind wandering. Not every person you meet is just a coincidence. Some moments are more than they seem. Some dreams are more than just imagination. There are times when heaven touches earth in quiet ways, and only your spirit can feel it. You can't explain it clearly to others. You just know something happened. You know you were not alone in that moment. You know something divine reached out to you. Maybe you've had a dream that stayed with you long after you woke up. You couldn't forget it. It felt different from other dreams. It wasn't full of confusion or fear. It brought peace, or it gave you a clear message. Maybe it warned you, or it comforted you. Or maybe you saw someone in the dream that spoke words you needed to hear. Sometimes those kinds of dreams are not just from your mind. They are gifts. They are messages. They are signs that you are being guided. These holy dreams often come at moments when your heart is searching, when you are tired, confused, or in need of direction. Heaven often speaks in ways that bypass your thinking and go straight to your soul, and a dream is one of those ways. You may not fully understand it at first, but it sits with you. It stays with you. You think about it while doing dishes, while walking, while driving, and over time the meaning becomes clear. That is how divine dreams work. They are planted like seeds. They grow quietly inside you. But it's not only in dreams that you experience the holy. Sometimes it happens in person. You meet someone, maybe only once, and they say something that feels like it came straight from God. You don't know how they knew what to say. Maybe they didn't know, but their words went straight to your heart, and you felt something lift, something shift. That was not a normal moment. That was a holy encounter. There are times when you walk into a place and feel peace fall on you like a blanket. Nothing loud or dramatic, just a calm that you can't explain. You might find yourself crying without knowing why. Your spirit feels something your mind cannot understand. Those are sacred moments. They are gentle reminders that you are not alone, that there is a world beyond what your eyes can see, a world of light, a world of angels, a world of divine love. Some people experience these moments in nature. They might be standing under the stars, or watching the sun rise, or walking through trees, and suddenly feel surrounded by love. They may not hear a voice, but they feel spoken to. They feel held. That is not just emotion. That is presence. That is the breath of the Creator moving through creation. When you experience something that feels holy, pay attention. Don't rush past it. Don't explain it away. Those moments are not accidents. They are not tricks of the mind. They are spiritual gifts. They are signs that heaven is near. Sometimes angels come not with wings, but with words. Not with light, but with peace. And they leave behind a feeling that lingers. That feeling is how you know something real happened. If you've ever had a dream or moment like this, you know what it feels like. It's quiet but deep. It doesn't force anything. It invites. It doesn't leave fear, it leaves peace. It's not full of confusion, it brings clarity. And after the moment passes, you are not the same. Even if your life looks the same on the outside, something inside has changed. You feel more aware, more connected, more certain that you are not walking alone. These moments are not rare for some people. They may happen often, but the more you recognize them, the more open you become to receiving them. The more thankful you are for them, the more you begin to see how often heaven tries to speak. Sometimes a dream or encounter feels like an answer to a prayer you didn't even say out loud. You may have been too tired to pray, too weary to ask, but God heard the quiet cry of your heart and He sent a message. He sent peace, He sent light. That is love, that is care. That is divine presence showing up in the middle of everyday life. Even when the world feels heavy, even when you feel far from faith, these holy dreams and moments remind you that heaven still sees you, that you are known, that you are loved, that help is near, and that your story is not being lived alone. So when these moments come, pause, breathe, give thanks, write the dream down, remember the words that were spoken, reflect on the peace you felt, let it sink into your spirit, let it strengthen your heart. You were visited, you were seen, something holy touched your life, even if just for a moment. These are not things to chase or control. They come when needed. They come with purpose. They are not signs of your greatness, but of God's grace. And they are reminders that you are on a path that is being watched over, guided, and covered with care. So if you've had a dream or an encounter that felt holy, don't ignore it. Don't treat it as small. That moment was a message. That moment was a gift. That moment was heaven saying, I'm here, I see you, you're not alone. And that kind of moment can carry you through the hardest seasons of life, because once you know that heaven is near, you never walk the same again. Sometimes life feels full of noise and distractions. There is so much going on around you that it's hard to pause, to breathe, to pay attention. But even in the middle of the noise, there are quiet signs. Little things that repeat, little things that stand out, feathers on the ground where there should be none, numbers that appear again and again, a flicker of light in a still room. These things may seem small, but something in your heart tells you they are not random. They mean something. when you keep seeing the same thing over and over, it's not always a coincidence. It could be a message. It could be a gentle whisper from something greater than yourself. Some people call these signs. Others call them nudges or confirmations. But deep inside, you feel they are holy. You feel they are coming from a place beyond what you can see. You feel they are from heaven. Feathers are one of those signs. You may find a white feather on your path when you are thinking deeply, or a feather might float down in a place where it doesn't belong. Maybe it lands near your feet or catches your eye when you are worrying or praying. You bend down and pick it up. It's soft, it's light, and it brings a kind of peace you didn't expect. That feather may be more than just part of a bird's wing. It may be a gentle reminder that you are being watched over. Angels are often described as beings of light and wings. A feather might be their way of letting you know they are near. Then there are numbers. You keep seeing the same numbers on clocks, on signs, on receipts. It might be 11, 11, or 3, 33, or 4, 44. At first it feels like a coincidence, but then it happens again and again. Always when you're thinking deeply, feeling lost, or looking for direction. Numbers can be a simple way for heaven to get your attention. They are easy to notice, easy to repeat, and when they keep showing up, it might be time to pause and ask, what is this trying to tell me? Numbers have always carried meaning. In many spiritual traditions, certain numbers represent things like balance, guidance, or divine presence. You may not understand it fully, but your spirit knows when something is speaking to you. Don't ignore it. Don't brush it off. When the same number keeps following you, it could be heaven's way of saying, you are not alone. You are on the right path. Keep going. Light is another sign. You might see a flash of light when no one else sees it. You may notice a beam of sunlight break through the clouds right as you pray or cry. A room may glow a little brighter for no reason, or a candle may flicker when there is no wind. These moments may seem simple, but they feel special. They feel alive. Light has always been a symbol of divine presence. It breaks darkness. It shows the way. It warms the heart. Seeing unusual light can be a sign that something holy is near. Not to frighten you, but to comfort you. It's a reminder that even when you walk through dark times, you are not alone. Light still finds you, light still follows you, light still shines on your path. Sometimes the signs are more personal. A song that plays at just the right time. A person who says the words you needed to hear. A message written on a wall or a page that speaks to your heart. These signs may seem small to others, but to you, they are everything. They show up when you need them most, when you feel discouraged, when you feel like giving up, when you ask heaven for a sign, and then you see it. What makes these signs powerful is not their size, but their timing. They don't shout, they don't force, they arrive quietly, softly, and yet they leave a mark on your soul. That is the nature of divine signs. They don't need to be loud to be real. They just need to come at the right moment. People sometimes doubt the signs because they don't make sense to the mind. But signs are not meant to speak to your mind first. They speak to your heart. They stir something deep inside you. You know what they mean, not because you can explain them, but because you feel them. That is enough. That is faith. The more you become aware of the signs, the more you will notice them. It's not because they suddenly appear, it's because your spirit becomes more open, more sensitive, more awake. Heaven is always speaking, angels are always near, but when you slow down and listen, you begin to notice the language they use, the language of feathers, of numbers, of light, of repeated moments that carry deep peace. If you've been seeing signs like these, it's not something to fear. It's something to welcome. You are being guided. You are being reminded that there is more to life than what your eyes can see. You are not alone. Your prayers are heard. Your steps are watched. Your path is not hidden. These signs do not always bring answers right away. They may not explain everything, but they bring reassurance. They remind you that even if you don't understand the whole journey, you are still being led. Even if you feel unsure, heaven is sure about you. So when you keep seeing repeated signs, take a moment to be still. Say thank you. Open your heart. Ask for wisdom to understand what you need to know. And trust that these signs are not just strange events. They are spiritual reminders of love, presence, and purpose. You are seen. You are remembered. You are being walked with. And even when nothing seems clear, the signs are already showing you the way. There are times in life when something happens inside you without warning. You're going about your day, maybe thinking about your own worries, your own plans, and then out of nowhere, you feel something rise up inside you. It's gentle but strong, a quiet push, a deep feeling. You feel the need to help someone. You feel the desire to say something kind, something encouraging, something full of light. It doesn't come from your mind, it comes from your heart. It feels like love itself is asking to speak through you. This kind of moment is not ordinary. It is not just a good thought. It is not just being polite or nice. It is something greater. It is often a sign that heaven is moving through you. When you feel a sudden urge to do good or to speak life into someone else, you are being invited to be a messenger of peace. You are being nudged to act with purpose. You may not understand why that person came to mind. You may not know their full story, but you know one thing clearly. You are supposed to say or do something kind, something good, something that brings light. Often, the person who comes to your heart in that moment is someone going through more than they show. They might be smiling on the outside but tired on the inside. They may be carrying a burden they've told no one about. And your words, your kindness, your simple act could be the one thing that gives them strength to keep going. That is no small thing. That is a holy thing. Sometimes the urge comes when you least expect it. You might be in a grocery store, or walking down the street, or even scrolling through your phone, and then you see someone or think of someone, and you feel the need to speak life, to send a message, to say, "I'm thinking of you," or "You're stronger than you know," or "You're not alone." You don't always know what to say at first, but when you listen to that inner pull, the words come. They come gently, they come with peace, they come with power. These urges are not random, they are not just emotions. They are spiritual signals. They are signs that you are connected to something higher, something beyond yourself. They are moments when love speaks, moments when heaven uses your voice, your hands, your presence to lift someone else up. And you may never fully know what your small act did for that person, but that doesn't make it any less important. Seeds are planted in quiet ways, and those seeds often grow into healing, hope, and strength. Sometimes you may feel nervous about following that urge. You may think, what if they think I'm strange? What if they don't understand? But when the message is filled with love and truth, it finds its way. The heart always recognizes sincerity. The soul always hears kindness. And even if the person doesn't show it right away, what you say or do still reaches them. It still matters. There is something powerful about being used for good. Not because you want attention, not because you're trying to look important, but because your heart is open to help, to heal, to bless. That is a gift. That is what makes life meaningful. To be a channel for good, to let kindness flow through you, is one of the highest callings of a human being. And here's something else to remember. When you feel that urge to do good, it doesn't only help the other person, it also helps you. Your own heart feels lighter. Your own soul feels peace. Because when you give love, you receive love. When you speak life, your own life is lifted. That is the mystery of kindness. It blesses both the giver and the receiver. Sometimes your words may be the only encouragement a person hears that day. Your smile may be the only light they see. Your small act may be the one thing that keeps them from giving up. You don't always need to know all the details. Just trust the nudge. Trust the gentle pull in your heart. It came from somewhere holy. It came with purpose. Many people ignore these moments. They brush them off. They stay silent when they feel called to speak. They walk past when they feel called to stop. But the more you honor these small promptings, the more you begin to live with purpose. You start to see how deeply connected we all are. You begin to realize that life is not just about getting through your own day. It's about lifting others up as you go. When you feel the urge to do good, to speak life, you are being invited into a divine moment. You may be the answer to someone's silent prayer. You may be the sign someone was hoping for. You may be the light someone needed to see. And over time, As you keep saying yes to these moments, something beautiful happens inside you. Your heart becomes softer, your eyes become more open. You start to see people, not just their faces, but their stories. You begin to notice the quiet sadness behind a smile, the hope in someone's voice, the tiredness in someone's steps, and you respond with love. That's how the world changes, not always through big, dramatic events, but through small, holy moments, one word, one gesture, one person at a time. So if you feel that sudden urge to do good, don't ignore it. If you feel the push to speak kindness, don't hold back. Follow that feeling, honor it, let love flow through you, let your words carry hope. Let your actions carry peace. You don't need a title to be a healer. You don't need a platform to be a light. All you need is a heart that listens and a spirit that's willing. Because every time you choose to speak life, you are reminding someone that they matter. You are reminding someone that they are seen. You are reminding someone that good still exists in the world, and that they are not walking alone. And in doing so, you're not just lifting them, you're rising too. Life can be very hard sometimes. It doesn't always warn you before it brings pain. One moment everything feels normal, the next, your whole world is shaken. You go through something that feels too heavy to carry. It could be a loss, a betrayal, a sickness, a sudden change, or a deep heartbreak. You didn't plan for it. You didn't expect it. And when it came, it felt like it would break you. You may have cried when no one saw. You may have sat in silence, not knowing what to say or do. You may have asked questions like, why me? Or will I ever feel peace again? And for a while, it may have felt like the answer was no. You may have lost your strength. You may have felt like giving up, but even in that deep pain, something inside you refused to let go. Something small but strong kept going. It wasn't loud, but it was alive. It kept you breathing, moving, hoping. And now, when you look back, you see it more clearly. You survived something that should have broken you. That pain was real. That suffering was not small. But here you are. You're still standing. You're still breathing. You're still waking up and facing each day, and not only did you survive it, you grew through it. You came out stronger, wiser, softer in some ways, tougher in others. What tried to break you became the very thing that built you. You didn't come out the same. You came out deeper. You understand more now. You see people's pain more clearly. You listen with more compassion. You speak with more truth. You carry yourself with quiet strength, not because life has been easy, but because you have faced what many could not imagine. And yet, you are still here. There is something powerful about surviving what should have destroyed you. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Some wounds are invisible. Some storms happen inside. But even then, your soul found its way through the darkness. You didn't always have answers, but you had enough light for the next step. You didn't always have energy, but you had just enough to get through the day. That's strength. That's real strength. It's not about pretending nothing happened. It's not about smiling through pain. It's about honoring your journey. It's about saying, yes, I walked through fire. Yes, I cried until I had no tears. Yes, I was broken. But I did not stay broken. You gave yourself time. You let healing take its course. You learned how to breathe again. You learned how to dream again, and along the way, you may have discovered things about yourself you never knew. You found courage you didn't know you had. You found faith when all you had was fear. You found peace in the middle of chaos. And that peace didn't come from outside. It came from within, from your spirit, from your connection to something greater, from your decision not to give up. Sometimes the people around you don't see the depth of your story. They may not know what you've come through, but your strength is not for them to understand. Your strength is a quiet testimony. It speaks even when you don't say a word. It's in your eyes. It's in your walk. It's in the way you carry yourself, not with pride, but with purpose. You now know what it means to survive, to rebuild, to start again. And you also know that you were never truly alone. Something greater was with you, guiding you, protecting you, holding you up when you couldn't stand. That presence may not have removed all the pain, but it gave you power to face it, and that power changed you. What you went through will never be forgotten. But it no longer controls you. It no longer defines you. You are more than your pain. You are more than your past. You are living proof that broken things can be healed, and that healing can lead to beauty. Now, your life carries a quiet wisdom. You may not speak about it all the time, but when others are hurting, you feel it. When others are breaking, you understand, because you've been there, and because of that, your presence becomes healing for others. You become someone who can offer comfort, not just with words, but with your spirit. Your strength didn't come from easy days. It came from the days when you had every reason to give up, but chose not to. It came from every moment you fell down, but got back up. It came from every tear you cried that watered your soul and helped something new grow. And now when you look in the mirror, you may still see the scars. But you also see the survivor. You see the one who rose, the one who kept going, the one who made it through, and that person is not weak. That person is powerful. That person is you. So take a moment to honor your journey, to remember how far you've come, to thank the strength within you and the grace above you, because nothing about your journey has been wasted. Even the pain had purpose. Even the brokenness gave birth to beauty. Even the silence taught you to listen. Even the loss made space for something new. You are here today because you were stronger than what tried to break you, and now your life is a light, a reminder to others that healing is possible. That strength can grow in the hardest places. That survival is not just about making it through. It's about rising with power, with wisdom, and with love. You didn't just survive, you overcame, and you will keep overcoming, because that is who you are. So now, as you stand on the other side of what tried to break you, take a deep breath and look at the journey with new eyes. You are no longer who you were before the storm. You are stronger, wiser, and more rooted in truth. You carry scars, yes, but those scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of victory. You are proof that pain does not have the final word. You are proof that darkness cannot silence the light within you. Walk forward not in fear, but in quiet confidence. Speak from the place that knows struggle, but also knows strength. Love deeper, stand taller, and remember this. What didn't break you built you. And because you survived it, you can help others rise too. Your story isn't over. In fact, the best chapters may still be ahead. Keep walking, keep healing, keep shining. You made it, and you're still rising.